The views expressed are not necessarily those of KSCJ and Powell Broadcasting Company. This program is not intended to replace the advice of doctors or other clinical providers. Consult with your practitioner to ensure the proper course of action for you.
Welcome to When Things Aren't Going Well on AM 1360, FM 94.9 KSCJ. This program is dedicated to your mental health wellness and brought to you by Family Services, a United Way partner agency. Here's your host, Art Silva.
Good morning and welcome to When Things Aren't Going Well. This show is all about your mental wellness and how you can help yourself navigate the daily highway of life. Our show is brought to you by Family Services and an anonymous sponsor. Family Services is the outpatient agency of Boys and Girls Home serving the Siouxland community. Joining me today from Family Services are licensed therapists Christy Spicer, Stacy Norton, and Brenda Geisinger. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Good.
Today we're going to talk about, okay, you've made the decision to get therapy, okay? Okay, I signed up. What do I expect? So, Christy, I'm going to pose you that question. I'm coming in. I'm going to see, I got all these anxieties and fears and what am I getting into? And why am I here? I think I know why I'm here, but what do I expect?
First of all, I want to say if you made the phone call and made the appointment, you've done 2 really hard steps already. So congratulations to you to get to that point.
Okay, good start.
Yeah. And so then you show up for your appointment the first time. You'll be greeted. You'll get to meet your therapist, go back to their office, and then it becomes a conversation where the therapist is going to help you start to talk about why you're there, a little bit about yourself, all of that kind of stuff to get started. We're just going to work to get started.
Brenda?
And there's not a couch in the office that you have to lay down and talk about something that happened when you were 2.
Oh, man, I was counting on Dr. Melfi from The Sopranos, I kind of go sit down there. But no, huh? Okay.
One other thing that I sometimes have heard from people as they're kind of considering going to therapy is, well, I have really hard stuff to talk about, and I don't know if I'm ready to talk about it. And the thing that I like to tell people is, good, don't come when you're ready to talk about the hard thing on the first day, because we got some other stuff we got to talk about on the first day, not the super hard stuff right away. And so just knowing that you don't have to get into the what happened to you at 2 or the really, really hard thing on that first appointment, we might want to know a general idea if there is a hard thing that we're going to get to. But even if we don't on that first appointment, that's okay too. We'll get there.
Kind of set the landscape. Stacy?
I will add, too, that after we talk and get our information, we always set goals with the clients. They are in charge of what they want to work on. So if there is something that they're not comfortable, they're not ready for, that won't be a goal. We'll work on the goal that they come in for. It might be to reduce their level of stress, to decrease their level of anxiety. So they are a big part of the treatment plan and achieving their goals.
When I arrive for my appointment and I sit down, how important is it that I connect with you? Stacy?
Very important. Yeah, rapport is very, very important in the therapy relationship. You want to be able to trust the person that you're working with.
On the first visit, Christy, how do I make this connection with you?
Well, we can't force it. So we're going to start to have a conversation, and hopefully, the therapist is going to ask you some questions just about you. What do you enjoy to do? What are your hobbies? What are your interests? Because I think that helps to connect. I also encourage people to come ask your therapist questions too. How do you approach different situations? Or do you have specific questions that are important to you to know about your therapist? You can ask them. If the therapist doesn't typically answer those questions, they're going to talk to you about that. And then you'll know where all of those things stand. But it's okay to talk to your therapist and ask questions as well.
Let me ask you this. Is there when a client arrives, is there sometimes a misconception of what therapy is? Brenda, you want to try to address that one?
I think sometimes there's this underlying fear, I'm crazy, or people are going to think I'm crazy, and they just don't know what's going on or what's going to happen. And all of that can just be settled and kind of be soothed and reassured that you are not crazy. We're here as a team and we're going to get through these things and look for solutions. And it's okay. We're going to work together.
Christy, anything you'd like to add to that?
I've had a couple people say, so you're going to give me meds?
Oh.
And
Yeah.
therapists do not prescribe medications. That is a different branch of mental health services. It's an extremely important one for a lot of people, but it's not always the answer either. And I think that it's important too to think that therapy and medication can go together. It can be really helpful for some people, but sometimes that's not the right path for them either. And so just know if therapist wants to talk to you about medications, we might talk to you about them, but that we're not going to prescribe them. So there shouldn't be any fear about that.
Interesting. There's a misconception right there that therapists prescribe medicine, and that doesn't happen. You get to a point where, okay, we've seen this on some movies where the therapist is called at 2 a.m. Okay, okay, what about Bob? No, I don't want to go that far. That was kind of extreme. But do you have calls from people that need your help, need your advice, that other than the 9 to 5 day?
We don't take calls at night. We set boundaries, but we have a safety plan for our clients that do need help. So there's resources out there. They can call the hospital. There's other resources that they can use during the night hours when we're not available.
And the whole goal and the whole approach here is self-help. You're trying to provide these skills, the coping skills, that they can do these things on their own, which minimizes the need to call all kinds of the hours as they react to different situations. And you folks have been very successful at this. So your clientele shows that. So I know you've had folks for a long time going on and answering and serving their needs. So it's just something that I think is coming to the forefront now. And I get excited about because we're about to move into the new family services building at Indian Hills. We'll be able to provide more service for the Siouxland community out of that great facility. Again, I'm Art Silva, and I'm with our family services licensed therapist, Christy Spicer, Stacy Norton, and Brenda Geisinger. And we just got talking about looking at what to expect when you come in for therapy. Well, I'll tell you, when you come into the new family services building, I'll tell you, we could expect a beautiful building, nice and bright, and we're going to have some wonderful people there. We'll be putting in yoga and meditation, and the future looks so bright. And we're just trying to tell you, get some help. Get rid of your fears. Get rid of, I don't know what's going to happen to me. There are some wonderful people out here that you can meet that have done it before. They know where you're at. They know what you're going through, and you are not alone. So please take advantage of the help that Family Services has. And you can get a hold of us at 293-4900. Just give a call and get to any one of our therapists that can probably address your need. And what I liked what we heard the first half of the show from Christy, Stacy, and Brenda was the fact that we put a plan together for the client. It's worked together. It's a mutually agreeable plan that we're going to work towards. And we're going to talk about that as we approach our break in the second half of the show. What can we do? How does a plan come together? What are some of the things that break a plan that we tend to look for to make sure they don't happen? So we're learning a lot today, and we're glad that you're with us. And so please grab that other cup of coffee and join us in a few minutes right back here when things aren't going well on KSCJ.
Let's face it, that happens to all of us. However, the pandemic has compounded all of our lives and activities. Even the simplest tasks seem harder. Hi, I'm Brenda Geisinger, the Chief Operating Officer at the Boys and Girls Home and Family Services. Family Services is a United Way partner agency serving children and families of our community, and we're here to help. If you'd like to learn more about Family Services, please contact us via email, website, Facebook, or phone Mary Pickens. At Family Services, we change lives.
Welcome back to When Things Aren't Going Well on KSCJ. Here's Art Silva.
Welcome back to When Things Aren't Going Well. I'm Art Silva, and with me are my friends from Family Services, Christy Spicer and Stacy Norton and Brenda Geisinger. And did it get any warmer since we left you guys? Because it is really cold around here today, I'm telling you. But I think we hit the bottom tomorrow, and then it starts to get warm. But the days are getting longer. When we last left you, we were talking about what to expect when you come in for therapy. Okay, you made the big decision, and Christy and Stacy said that's the hardest part, and you'd be congratulated for that. Okay, so now I'm feeling good. I'm in the office. They tell me, okay, Art, you did a good job. You showed up here. Okay, now let's take a look. We're going to put a plan together. And Christy, let me ask you, what's this plan deal? Tell me about this plan. How do we put this plan together? What plan? I didn't know about a plan.
Well, it probably going to take a couple sessions for us to kind of really understand what the plan is, because I need to make sure that when I'm meeting with a client that I really understand what the issue is and what they want to achieve by the end. And so then we'll talk about steps to get there, and be able to really try to define those as carefully and as accurately as we can. And we're going to do that together so that we know that we're all heading in the same direction.
Okay, Stacy, I got a question for you. On my first meeting with you, and I'm here, and I tell you, I'm here because my wife says I have to be here. And so how do you put a plan together on that?
I would ask them what they want. What would you like to work on? Because you're my client. And it sounds like there's some issues in the relationship. So, it'd be what would you like to work on?
Okay, start the plan from there.
Right.
Okay, interesting. Do you ever get pushback like that when you come in right off the bat, first visit, defensive?
You can, especially with kids, as teenagers, especially. They'll come in and be like, I don't know, my mom said I had to be here.
I knew that's going to come in there somewhere.
And that's okay, a place to start too. Sometimes I talk to the kids about, so your goal is to not have your mom want you to come here anymore. And they're like, yeah, great. We can start at that point, right? Because now I'm like, I understand what they want. And then we can talk about, okay, so what are the things that are going on that maybe mom thinks you need to be here, right? And it's a way to get started. And adults, sometimes, like you said, an adult might come in and say, well, my wife said I had to be here. Okay. We start there, and it's okay to start at that spot.
Okay, I'm in the week 3 of my plan, and we find the plan isn't working. Stacy, what do we do?
Typically, the plan takes a little longer. It's called a treatment plan, and it's set. We have to review it every 3 months. So we look at it every 3 months. Usually, it takes at least 3 months to meet a goal. And sometimes it has to be extended. Now, sometimes it can be shorter. But we review it and look at it. And then, okay, it looks like you've met this goal. Are there any other goals you'd like to work on? And we may add another goal.
So it sounds like a success breeds success. If I feel good about my first goal, second goal, and we're making progress, and overall, I'm feeling pretty good about myself, it sounds like I may want to step up and look at other areas and continue this self-improvement relationship that I'm having with my therapist. That's a great outcome. But what happens if factors kick in that I can't control, that take me out of the plan? Do we reset, Christy?
Yeah, sometimes you have to reset and say, okay, this big thing happened, and so now we need to look in a different direction. And so we'll do that at any time. Maybe we'll formally look at a treatment plan, or maybe we'll informally kind of say, okay, we're here. This is where we're at and where we'll go now. And sometimes people do have to take a break for a little bit if something catastrophic has happened, if a health issue has come up and getting to therapy or being able to participate isn't available to a person for a short time. We can do some short breaks because a person needs to be able to commit to it. Maybe doesn't need to, but it's really helpful to be able to commit to it. And if there's circumstances that are making it difficult, doesn't mean we have to stop having that person sort of be on our agenda, so to speak, of, I'm going to give Art a call because he hasn't been in here for a couple of weeks. I know he had this thing going on, but maybe I'm going to call him and say, hey, are things better? Do you think you're ready to schedule? That's an option for us to do too.
So there is flexibility built in. Just dealing with the reality of the situation and not giving up. Okay.
Yes, and sometimes people do need to take a pause. They work really hard, and then it becomes overwhelming, and they need a couple months for a break, and then they come back.
Okay.
So that doesn't happen a lot. I would say most of the treatment plans, the therapy ends where the client is ready to be done. And I would say most of the people that come in for therapy have achieved the goals that they set at the beginning.
This may not be an accurate analogy, and I'll just preface my comment with that, but I look at it like a coach. And a coach won't let you give up. You got to hang in there. You got to make this thing happen. That doesn't sound like that's the right approach here. Anyway, Christy, you want to comment on that?
I think it depends on what kind of has been established within the therapeutic relationship and the goals. Sometimes as a therapist, I might say, no, I really think we need to work on this. I'm not going to yell at you like a coach, right? But I might say, I wonder if we really need to keep pushing through this issue, right? But other times it might be, right, like, I get why you're overwhelmed and why we need to take a step back. And sometimes, especially when I work with folks when we're dealing with trauma and things like that, like sometimes we do have to say, well, maybe we're not going to stop therapy, but we're going to take a break from that work for a little bit and work on some other things too. So there's a lot of flexibility with that. So we're like a coach, we're encouraging, but we also want to work with the person. Like, is that your limit? Okay, that's your limit. Okay, like that's okay.
And my belief is that we have the tools and the education to help people get better and improve. So I think for sure that we give clients a lot of encouragement,
Okay.
but we can't, like Christy said, you don't yell at them, and it's their decision if they want to work. We have the tools to give them ideas to make improvements. And if they want to process and do some of the hard work that it takes, that's their choice. We can't force that, but we do have a lot of encouragement with the clients that come in and believe that they can and will get better.
I have to assume that there is some level of disappointment in individual cases as you go through. You wish it had been a better outcome. And I've often wondered, how does the therapist deal with that type of disappointment? Because you've invested a lot of time with a client. You've gotten really close to the client and understanding the problem and trying to help. So how do therapists deal with that type of disappointment?
I think
Stacey, Christy? Christy?
Sorry. For me, I just think about the fact that I don't know what the thing is that I said during the course of their treatment that might make sense to them at some point. And so I've definitely had that experience where a client has stopped therapy for whatever reason and then gets back in touch and says, do you remember that time that you said this thing? And of course, I probably don't. But they're like, that really mattered to me. And I'm still thinking about that and I'm remembering it. And it's really turned out to be helpful to me.
Interesting. Stacey?
Right. I think for anybody, a therapist, it's important not to take things personally. I believe in the client. I believe they have the ability to achieve their goals. If they decide that they don't want therapy or it's not their time, I try not to take that personally because I believe in the individual and what their ability to make choices and
right or wrong
decisions.
Yeah.
Again, it's their decision if they decide that they want to take a pause on therapy or maybe it's not the right fit as far as the therapist.
I guess the real thing, the key thing I'm hearing is you have the ability, the professional ability to disassociate yourself with those personal feelings that, that can, all of us, human nature can creep in and affect your actions and thinking. So you stay right to what we're working. This is the program. And what we left out so far, and I'm going to ask you, is how important is the family support? Can that be positive? Can it be detrimental? Christy?
Yeah, I think, and I'll talk about the network around a person, I think is really important, whether it's a biological family, whether it's adopted folks, if it's just a social network that they have put together that they determine to be their family. If they have that support, it's so beneficial to individuals.
Well, this has certainly been, I always come away from these shows learning more, understanding a little better, and how important it is for people, if they need some help, they gave us a call. Today we shared the expertise of Christy Spicer and Stacy Norton and Brenda Geisinger. We have a wonderful team of therapists over at Family Services, so please give us a call, 293-4900, in case you have any questions, or you'd like to use any of our services, or you just want to talk. We'd be glad to help you. Well, this is kind of wrapping up another show, and always great. I want to give thanks to our listeners. Thank to Christy, Stacy, Brenda. Appreciate your time and expertise today. And I'm just going to tell you, close with a little humor every week, and this one is going out to us that we all get our hearing question as we get a little older. Old man was wondering if his wife had a hearing problem, so one night he stood behind her, and while she was sitting on the end of her lounge chair, he softly spoke to her, "Honey, can you hear me?" There was no response. So he asked her again, "Honey, can you hear me?" No response. So finally he moved right up behind her and said, "Honey, can you hear me?" Well, the third time, yes. So listen, we love having you with us today. Thank you very much. We'll be back next week when things aren't going well right here on 1360 KSCJ.
Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep smiling until then. Happy trails.